Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really cool legal tool that kind of works like a crystal ball. It lets you solve problems before they actually start. It's called Rule 63 of the Rules of Court, and trust me, it's all about getting ahead of the game.
You know that feeling, right? You're staring at a contract or maybe a new city rule and you just freeze. There's that little knot of anxiety, that total uncertainty about your rights. If I do this, am I going to get sued? But if I don't, am I missing a massive opportunity? That legal limbo, it can be absolutely paralyzing.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about what this proactive legal tool really is. Then we'll get into the specifics of something called declarative relief. We're also going to cover the 4 crucial requirements you have to meet, explore why timing is literally the most critical factor, and finally, we'll look at some other remedies under Rule 63 that help fix legal documents and clear up property disputes.
So, how does this work? I mean, obviously, courts don't have a literal crystal ball, but Rule 63 is probably the next best thing for getting a peek into your legal future.
Just imagine this for a second. Let's say you're a small business owner. The city passes some new complicated zoning ordinance. Does it mean you have to move? Can you still expand your shop? You're totally stuck. If you act, you might be looking at a huge fine or a lawsuit. But if you do nothing, your business just stagnates. This is the exact kind of situation that can sink a company. And this is precisely where Rule 63 comes into play. Instead of just waiting around to get sued, you can actually go to the court first and ask for an official ruling on what that law or contract really means for you. It's a super powerful preventative move that gives you clarity when you need it most. So, what do we actually call this action? Well, its official name is a petition for declaratory relief. Now, pay close attention to the goal here. It's not about winning money or forcing someone to do something. The whole point is just to get an authoritative statement for your guidance. You're basically asking a judge, hey, can you just tell us what the rules are so we can follow them properly? Honestly, the easiest way to remember what this is, just call it the pre-lawsuit lawsuit. You're using the court system to head off a full-blown legal battle by getting clear on the rules of the game before anyone even gets accused of breaking them. And the scope here is incredibly broad. You can use this for almost any formal written document. We're talking everything from property deeds and wills to big business contracts. It even applies to government actions like statutes, executive orders, or, that confusing city ordinance we were just talking about. Okay, so this sounds amazing, but you can't just waltz into court and ask about any random legal question you have. There are some really strict conditions, a sort of rules of the game that you have to play by. The court looks for 4 key things. First, the conflict has to be real, not just some what-if scenario. That's what's called a justiciable controversy. Second, the people involved have to have opposing interests. Third, you personally need to have a direct stake in the outcome. And fourth, the problem has to be real now, not some distant possibility. They call this ripeness.
But out of all those rules, this next one, this is the most critical one. When it comes to declaratory relief, timing is absolutely everything. There's a ticking clock. Here it is, the single biggest catch you need to remember. This is a before remedy, not an after one. The moment someone actually breaks the contract or violates the rule, that window for declaratory relief slams shut. Once a breach happens, it's too late. You have to file a regular lawsuit for damages instead. This timeline really lays it all out. So, you sign a contract, then a disagreement pops up about what it means. This right here is the sweet spot, the perfect time to file for declaratory relief. But if you wait and one party goes ahead and actually violates the terms, that's the breach. After that point, it's too late. The whole game has changed from just being uncertain to being about an actual wrong that needs a totally different legal fix. So what if the breach happens while your case is already in court? Well, the rules are pretty clever about this. Under Section 6, the case can simply be converted into a regular lawsuit. The court just adapts to the new situation, and you can then start asking for damages or other remedies without having to go back to square one. And finally, Rule 63 is really more like a package deal. It's not just about declaring your rights. It also has other powerful tools for fixing legal problems before they get out of hand.
2 of these are super useful. First, there's reformation of an instrument. This is for when you guys had a perfect agreement, but the written contract has a mistake in it, like a typo. Reformation doesn't change your deal. It just fixes the paperwork to match the deal you actually made. Then there's quieting of title for real estate. Imagine some old claim puts a cloud over your property ownership. This action asks the court to basically get rid of that cloud, making your title crystal clear.
So really, when you boil it all down, Rule 63 is a complete toolkit for creating legal stability. Whether you're clearing up confusion, correcting a mistake in a contract, or removing a shadow on a property title, the goal is always the same: solve the issue before it explodes into a much bigger, more expensive legal battle. And that brings us to a final thought. You know, in today's world, with complex new things like smart contracts, AI, and regulations that seem to change every other day, isn't a tool that gives you legal clarity before a crisis hits more valuable than ever? It's definitely something to think about. That's it for this explainer. Thanks for joining me.